Hey everyone, Zach Mason here. Welcome to my channel. You're about to see some very interesting things. Chapter 8 of the book of Revelation describes the beginning of a process where 7 angels begin to blow 7 different trumpets. And when each trumpet sounds, a different prophetic event happens on earth. If you're not familiar with these trumpets, go read chapter 8 of the book of Revelation, see how it begins, what it describes. I've talked a lot more about those trumpets in a previous video I did, which I will link to that video in the description of this one. Now, a trumpet in the Bible is not a brass trumpet you're thinking about. It is, in ancient Israel, the trumpet was a ram's horn, a long ram's horn that has a long, steady sound. And it was used to call an assembly of Israel or to call Israel to war, to warn them about something. But now, what you're about to see though is something unusual, because I used to think that these trumpets, when they blasted, when the book of Revelation began to happen, that we wouldn't hear them, that these would only be heard in heaven, but we would experience the prophetic event on earth. I'm not so sure now, because since 2012, people have been hearing these very strange, loud noises in the sky in different parts of the earth, and a lot of them sound just like shofars. Curiously, the places where they sound tend to be places where a lot of Jewish people live, where there's a big Jewish population. Almost like God might be calling Israel home. Not sure about that. I haven't studied that in depth, but that's my first take on it. Regardless, I am about to play for you montage of clips of people hearing these sounds and how shocked and they are, and how surprised and how unsure they are of what they're hearing. After that, you're going to also see dreams and visions that Christians have been having over the past years about the very events that are described in the book of Revelation. And in those dreams and visions, they also hear shofar blasts. So anyways, take a look, and hopefully this video is going to be of some benefit to you, and we'll see you soon.
Have a listen to this. So what are you hearing? Well, we don't really know. The strange sounds were heard across Terrace, BC early yesterday morning and lasted for about 10 minutes. Speculation about what caused it ranges from the aurora borealis to aliens, or it could just be a prank. But similar sounds have been recorded in other parts of BC and reported in other locations around the world.
I have no idea, like, it's coming straight out of the sky.
Did you feel that? I can feel it. Yeah.
And in my gut, I felt something was about to happen in this dream. I kid you not. After that, I heard the loudest trumpet. Loudest trumpet, steady flow, no rhythm, no beat, just a straight trumpet. So as you're seeing all these people walking around, jogging, that's what I see, jogging, playing frisbee, walking their dog, 2 by 2, enjoying the things of the world. And this is what I heard. Steady flow. And in seconds after that, fire and brimstone came down from the sky, down on the people.
I had a dream that my family and I were in a house in a big open plain, big open field, and we could hear something going on outside. So we ran outside and we look up into the sky and we can see fireballs raining out from the sky. Not like asteroids, but they were smaller. Almost kind of reminded me of like fragments of just fireballs coming everywhere. There was a lot of them and they were hitting all over, and you could see them when they were hitting, they were burning up. They were causing fire and destruction. So in my dream, I start telling everybody around us and my family that it's okay, it's okay. This just means that Jesus is coming. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared when you see these things start to happen. It just means that Jesus is coming.
The second dream I had was about, I don't know if it was an asteroid that was like broken up, but it was about fire raining down from the sky. It was at night. And yeah, I mean, it was just falling down everywhere. And, you know, there were people running around near me.
And the stars started coming down like it was like a fireball it's like the stars was dropping. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a clip. And so I'm going to insert a clip of how it looks, but it was like fireballs was coming down and it was killing people.
All of a sudden a rain, quote unquote rain, of these white stones were falling off the sky, and the white stones were set on fire. The thing is that I'm walking and I see people running everywhere like crazy. They were trying to find refuge wherever they could find it. And I look up at the sky and, you know, to have a better look at the stones. The stones, some of them were big like rocks. Some of them were not that big like stones. You know, it came in all different shapes and forms and sizes. And the stones were white, and underneath or in some parts had like yellow circles, and they were on fire and they were raining upon us, you know, on us. And for some reason, you know, I was walking normally. I was not running. I was walking, trying to find refuge, but not scared at all. And it seemed like for some unknown reason, I did not try hard to find refuge, but none of those stones fell on me.
Weird. is that? What is that? Then I looked down at my phone, trying to see if I could search what was going on. And as I looked at my phone, the screen was all black, and a long, bright yellow digital number appeared across my phone screen, and it was counting down. And immediately I knew I needed to get to high ground. I knew a huge tsunami was on the way. Even though we were headed towards the mountains, I knew in my dream the tsunami that was coming was still going to surpass the highest mountain we went to. I looked in the sky as we were driving and seen what looked like meteors were coming through our atmosphere.
Last night in prayer, I was asking the Lord if there was anything that He wanted to show me in my heart and in my mind or in a dream. All I told the Lord was, Lord, I just want to be able to hear from you. If there's anything that you have for me, if there's anything that you desire to show me, I pray that you would show me tonight in a dream. Reason why I was asking this is because lately in this season, I don't know why, but lately I've been having a lot of dreams. A lot of dreams have been coming, a lot of really vivid dreams. A lot of things are personal to me, personal for me, things that I believe God is answering my own prayers with through dreams. Dreams are really a language of God's Spirit. As I was sleeping, I had the most vivid dream I have ever had in a very, very long time, and it was extremely vivid. In this dream, I was in a hotel, and I was all the way up on the top, the highest level of the hotel, and I had my wife and my children with me, and I look outside, and it's nothing but glass, like it's like all these windows everywhere, and I see the Atlantic Ocean, and I see all this water around me. I'm in a beach, there's people having fun, just people just kind of like, you know, tanning outside and all these things, and all of the sudden, I look out and I see a storm that is coming into the ocean, and all of a sudden I hear this really loud shofar blast, like a trumpet, really, really loud. The sky turned black and this wave came up, an unusually enormous wave. It was so huge, and it kept coming and coming and getting bigger. It was like hundreds of feet high into the air, I dare say a mile, and it just came and it started crashing against the shoreline. And again, I heard the trumpet blast again. This happened like 7 times in my dream. It was 7 different shofar blasts and 7 very large waves.
I live in the island of Puerto Rico, for those that don't know, and I'm in the kitchen around the area actually where I'm at. I'm actually in the island of the house. Behind me is the living room, and my wife is in the room. I think she was like folding clothes or doing something, and I was standing in the kitchen, and all of a sudden I could feel this rumble. I don't know if you guys ever heard or felt a helicopter or an airplane when you know that it's in the distance and you know it's approaching, and you feel that how would I call that, the propellers of the helicopter or the airplane or whatever. You can actually feel, especially those who live in the city, you can feel the things rumbling or a little shake. But in this case, it was like everything was shaking. I remember the place rattling, things falling, and it wasn't an earthquake because I can hear this sound, this roar. I can't explain it. It was just like this massive, just roar sound is basically what I could think of, like, you know, 1,000 jets roaring. And I remember my wife says, "Oh my God, what was that? Was that an earthquake or something?" And I said, "No, that was not an earthquake. That whatever it was, that was something, you know, it's something that's in the sky." So I run outside. Behind me, I open up the front door, and when I open up the front door, I can see the pillar of smoke, the tail, you know, the tail that's following this asteroid. And if you take a fist, a big fist, and you just put it to the sky, and you look at your fist, you know, being in the sky, that's how big the asteroid was. And I'm talking about as a distance. It was like thousands of feet high in the sky, just like when you look at a plane, you know it's a plane, but it's just way up there. So imagine putting your fist like this and just putting your fist in front of you in the sky. That's how big the asteroid was. And I could see it flying by behind me, and it impacted the ocean. It hit the ocean. directly, and when it hit the ocean, it was just like a punch. It was something massive, and you could just see the water just plume up into the air, like from the sides. And I remember the trees blowing. Things were getting just with the impact. As soon as it hit the water, there was just like this burst, you know, of energy from the impact, and things like fell, things broke, windows were shattering. I could hear people screaming. And I remember the first wave actually coming in and just swallowing people, swallowing houses. Here the houses are in cement, very strong, were rebar, well made, and they were just like crushed like crackers. Like, it was just something crazy. And I remember the water was approaching, and we live about 5 minutes actually from our local beach. We have a couple of beaches here, but we live about 5 minutes to one of the local beach here, and in the east coast of the island of Puerto Rico. And it just came in a matter of seconds. Like, people didn't even have a break. Like, they didn't even have a chance. I remember people running, and it was just like slipping on the mountains, you know, trying to climb up, just desperate, and just it being swallowed. I don't even know if I had enough time, because when my wife came, oh, that was another thing. When I saw an impact, that I saw the wave coming, I was like, babe, I was just screaming with a loud voice. I remember now, sorry about that, guys. And I was like, babe, we have to go now, we have to go now. And I remember she was like grabbing stuff and running, and she can actually see it approaching. And as it was, the water was hitting the trees. Now it was like when I say double impact, it was just like you know, first you got the burst of energy from this asteroid, from the impact, and then you have a tsunami coming, followed by multiple tsunamis. So it was just like multiple, these massive ripples, you know, of water from the effect of the asteroid hitting the impact. And all I could say is that there was just like hundreds of people being washed up. You know, I just say God have mercy. I was standing on top of a building, and it seemed like I live in the island of Puerto Rico. Many of you will know because of the videos. And I was standing on this building, and it looked like to be like the San Juan area, the capital of Puerto Rico. And as I was looking, immediately, just quickly, as I was like looking in the sky, I seen something massive, huge, just come from the sky and impact the ocean. It hit the ocean. And the thing was that it hit the ocean so hard.
A huge wave. It was higher than all the hotels that were on the beach. It was higher. And my first instinct was go as fast as you can.
I see this huge asteroid meteor. I saw so much detail in this, and it was crazy because I saw the divots in it, I saw the detail in it, I saw the cracks, but it was just a huge flaming ball, and I saw the blue and the red and the gold yellow in the flames, and it was just falling, and it was falling towards the earth. And I just kind of stood there in amazement, and then in the dream it just kind of disappeared beyond the horizon, and I knew it fell in water. Like, I just knew. And I remember seeing two of my family members, and they were looking down, and they were on the street, and I just ended up being like right there on the street, or going down on the street at one point, I guess. And it was crazy. And so I'm looking beyond them, and all of a sudden I see a bunch of water, and the water is just this white frothy foam, and that's all I could see. But I knew it was massive, and it was high. I mean, higher than your average like building, skyscraper. And it was huge. It was just huge.
We were having some sort of get together, and we're outside, and it's nighttime, and we can see some type of phenomenon going on in the sky. I don't know if it was it looked like a meteor shower. They weren't falling to earth. It wasn't raining fire from these rocks like in the previous dream the night before, but we could see something going on in the sky and the heavens, and it looked like a meteor shower. And when that happens, all of a sudden there is a massive tsunami that comes, and it gets all the way up to us, but it doesn't overtake us. We're not submerged, and it stops kind of like right where we are.
I remember vividly that it was sunny at first. You know, it was sunny, and I remember people were leaving New York City. Like, people were actually leaving in cars and actually leaving. And then all of a sudden the screen completely turned black in the dream. And then the water had hit. The water had already hit New York City. And the buildings were collapsing to the water. There was people like in the waters crying out for help, doing like this, doing this. And I remember it was just like this long stretch of just seeing people in the waters just crying out for help. And I remember the sun was shining and reflecting on the waters. And it was just so dark and so murky. It was just the most terrifying thing. And I remember it's just, I couldn't even say anything. I was just, because it looked so real. It was just like I could touch the water itself. I remember I was just like in camera view, just looking over at everyone. I remember just saying, oh God, how great is your judgment. Oh God, how powerful and how awesome you are, and how great. And just, I was just praising God, and I was just fearing God. It was as if everything within me, I knew that God's judgment has come. I knew with all my heart that God's judgment has come for New York City. And it was just already too late. It was already too late.
Again, with that third dream about the East Coast tsunami, the entire city of New York was covered. It was, you know, a major tsunami, like a massive tsunami.
In this dream, I just witnessed this. And although it was nasty, I had no fear in the dream over that, but I saw everything around the world. The impact and the winds. Winds were very fast. I saw the sea. Massive earthquake. I saw some picture of a Richter scale, and it was like, and it was like the highest it had ever been, like a 12 something or another around the world. The whole world felt it. The whole world saw it. Everybody knew about it. It was absolutely awful. But in the dream, it wasn't the impact that was the focus. It was the after bit. All I have to say, it's a very simple sentence. Nothing was the same.
I remembered both of us were underwater, holding our breath, holding each other's hands. I remembered anticipating our death with our last breath, and my eyes were wide opened as I surrendered to death. And while we were underwater, my eyes were wide open. I saw things that were normally on land, such as parts of a building or furniture. Things that are normally not in the water were in the water. But to my shock, we did not die underwater. It was like the Lord extended our breath to live and breathe underwater. But I knew that
every form of life in the past of this tsunami would not last alive without God's intervention. So the tsunami passed. Then I was forewarned by the Lord in my spirit that more catastrophe that would come. It would shake the whole world. So I wasn't sure what that catastrophe would be, but I knew it would be a life-altering, world-changing event.
And one of the people on that ship called out to me, "Do you think we'll make it?" When I heard the question, I looked back out to sea, and what I saw astonished me. It was a gigantic wall of water just towering over us. It was a huge tsunami, but I had no fear at all. And without any real anxiousness in my heart, I turned back to this man and I said, "Probably not with this one." Before I knew it, I had popped up safely on the other side of the wave.
בואנה, זה מטורף. מאיפה זה מגיע? ששש, תקשיב. צלם מלמטה. תביא את הטלפון.
וואו. וואו, מה זה?
May 13, 2020. And it starts off with my family, my husband, myself, and my two small children. We were in the car coming back from somewhere, and it was either just getting dark or like right after sunset, but the moon was out and we could see the moon, and my son points out the moon. And when I look up and I see the moon in the sky, there's an orange haze covering the moon in front of it, and it's just really hard to see it, but it made everything orange and hazy. And then in front of that was an orange streak coming down diagonal, like a orange fireball.
Talk a little bit, if you will, about the dream you had last year about an asteroid.
Yeah, so, well, it was the most vivid dream that I've ever had. It was frankly frightening.
I'm sure.
I found myself on a mountain running with thousands of other people and an asteroid descending down towards the Earth.
I then see a vision of a meteor or an asteroid coming towards us, like not in a side profile where I see it in the sky and it's falling, but now it's like I'm looking right at it. And I see it coming towards us. And
The earth was on fire. I mean, there was no green grass anymore. It was just set ablaze.
Woke up in this place, this terrible strike on Earth with an asteroid. But when I woke up from that vision, sat up in bed, in fact, I almost fell out of bed, and a single word seemed to be whispered through my bedroom, and that was the word Apophis.
Towards us. And then it flashes to another vision, and it's like I'm in space and I'm looking at the earth and the world, and I can see where it's going and it's aiming. And the best way I could describe it was there was land masses, and it kind of made like a M, like a capital M kind of, and where the M came together right in the middle in the ocean is where it was aiming towards. So I see this, and when I woke up and I remembered this, I immediately wrote and drew it out, and so I could try to find this exact place. I didn't know exactly where that was in my dream, but I will show you. When I wrote it out, it looked like this, and I wrote the Ring of Fire on there because once I woke up and I looked at, you know, different images of the globe, when you see the Pacific Ocean and you look up the Ring of Fire, it kind of makes like a capital M. And so again, where that was meeting, right underneath it is where I saw it aiming. Still in the car. And I urgently tell my husband, we need to get home now. Like, we need to go home.
Desolated, like a devastated area, like there was nothing around, but there was a big crater, and inside the crater was deep, and it was water on the inside of the crater. And in this feeling, guys, I felt as if it was an asteroid or a meteor that hit the earth and left the land and devastated. And as I was looking at this crater, it was like a trumpet that went off, and I knew that meant there was time for me to take shelter. And in a dream, I was feeling like something else is about to happen after this. Something else is about to happen after this.
So we get home, and then I calmly start putting my 2 kids to bed, which is strange because in the car I was, you know, like urgent, like I saw this and I'm like, we need to go home now. And then I get home and I calmly start putting them to bed. So I put them to bed, I kiss them goodnight, and I say goodnight to them in their own beds, like nothing's going on. And then I go into our room and I sit on my bed, and my husband now is frantically going around the house, gathering supplies, getting things together, like in preparation. And I don't know if we were like gonna pack up and go somewhere, but he's frantically getting things ready, and I'm just calmly sitting on the bed. And then he comes in with our 2 small children in his hands, in his arms, and he puts them on the bed. And I'm like, no, you're right. You're right. They need to be with us right now because Jesus is coming. And I said that. I said, Jesus is coming. They need to be with us. And so I'm like holding them. And then that sense of urgency that I felt in the car, I felt it again. And I lean over towards, we have a nightstand right next to our bed. And in the top drawer, I had put a letter in there. It was a rapture letter that I wrote, and I had just recently wrote this last week, and I typed it out and I made several copies and put them around our house, like in our computer desk drawer, in our nightstand drawer, in my Bible, in our car, in our glove compartment, and in my wallet. Should the rapture happen anytime soon and my loved ones, anybody who doesn't know the Lord or who's rejected him, should they come looking for us, they would have a letter from me of what happened to us and what to expect now that they are left behind. So the Holy Spirit led me to writing that letter. I'll show you what it looks like. I try to keep it sweet and simple. It's just 2 full pages, and then on the bottom I referenced scriptures that describe and point to the rapture, the tribulations, the Antichrist, so they just know what to expect. And so God's just put it on my heart to write this because it's almost like we're in that next phase of urgency now, guys, that it's not just let's casually have a conversation and witness to people and plant a seed and pray that they come to know the Lord. It's almost like the timing is so imminent that the Lord's return is here. He is at the door, that now we just need to warn others and occupy and redeem the time that we still have left and that we're still here, but also just warn others and leave something behind for those who don't know. Maybe they'll have a second chance and be tribulation saints or come to know the Lord after the raptures happen. But I also felt like I needed to write that letter because I feel like whenever the rapture does take place, there's going to be a lot of deception of what really happened to us. And I don't want those left behind to be deceived. I want people to know the truth. So I wrote that letter just recently as I've been feeling that urgency really stirring up in me. And so, back to my dream. I am holding my children, and I lean over into my nightstand drawer, and I pull open the drawer, and I'm rummaging through it to make sure that I had placed that letter in there, which I did. It was on there, and right when I see it, I hear a trumpet blast, and I hear it go off. It's loud. It's like a deep you hear it, not like a siren, and it just began to get louder and louder and louder. And I hold my children and I hug them and I tell them, and Jesus is coming. And then I say, no, Jesus is here. He's here now. And I wake up.